So,
Hi, Alex. How you doing?
not bad, but I'm pretty sad.
Why are you sad? You shouldn't be sad.
Well,
You should be
okay,
gay.
I'm happy.
You
I'm
should be
because I'm
gay.
stoic.
You should be gay and carefree.
I know, I should. But the reason why, okay, fine. The reason why I'm upset at the whole right is because they are horrible at fighting battles.
All right, tell me why. Why? You mean tactically or strategically or what?
Well, they're messed up in terms of their goals and they're lazy. Let me explain. Yeah, I'm going to briefly define libertarian and conservative. Conservative is somebody that fights for traditional values and social things like pro-life, pro-family. And a libertarian is somebody who has the mindset we need a government that is non-intrusive, that lets people be free to do as they will. And there's overlap, but there's also significant differences. Now, this is my big issue with the right. My big issue is that they always take this squishy soft path. They advocate for a conservative government and a libertarian culture when really it needs to be the other way around. Because let me explain what the conservative government idea is. It's a lot of conserving America, and that's a good thing at the surface, but it means spend unnecessary amounts of spending, usually getting involved in foreign conflict that doesn't really actually help, expanding more protections, using the government to basically force these traditional values, versus the libertarian in the culture will be permissible of everything. Do whatever you want, smoke whatever you want, sleep with whatever you want, that kind of mentality. And it's poisonous in both ways. Mm-hmm. I love conservatism and libertarianism, but they need to be switched around. The reason why they are the way they are is because it's easy. It's so much easier to, say do whatever you want as a libertarian, but as a conservative to, not worry about the debt, not worry about spending, to be very nanny state-y and to impose bureaucracy against people who want to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the mentality of the right, and it's annoying because they're choosing it because it's easier. It's so easy to have it that way versus the other way, whereas the libertarian government, stop spending money. Stop getting us into debt. In a conservative culture, it means you stand up for the family. You stand up for marriage. The right can't do that. It's too scary. They're afraid of offending people, yada, yada, yada. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you're trying to paint a portrait here with too broad of a brush.
Oh, of course. I am.
First of all, I think the viewers should probably be aware that you're talking about political conservatives and political libertarians, and you're ignoring you're failing to take account of the fact that we have intellectual or eidetic conservatives and eidetic libertarians. For instance, you cannot equate Roger Scruton with anybody on the conservative Senate or Congress or anything like that, or anybody in the media. Even you cannot even equate Tucker Carlson with Sir Roger Scruton. Sir Roger Scruton tells us that conservatism, to be a conservative, is to have an attitude of mind and a way of living. It has nothing to do with this policy or that policy, this law or that law, this skirmish line or that skirmish line along the cultural battlefield. So I want to be clear. You're talking about the battlefield. You're talking about the political cultural war as it's being fought at close range.
Yes,
that's what you're talking.
The culture war and also the policy war. The policy war, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, because you're doing that, because you're restricting your argument and your analysis to that, I agree with you. I agree with you. And the reason is because all politicians have one thing in common, which is why Donald Trump is not a politician. All other people in Washington have one thing in common. They want to get reelected. Trump doesn't care about getting reelected. He could give a shit about
because he only needs to do it once, and then he's never going to run again.
He's already had his orgasm. Okay, it's already over. Right? He's lighting up a cigarette. Okay, he's smoking after the act. All right. Okay. But the other people, the Paul Ryans of the world, even the Rand Pauls, yeah, all of them, they're interested in the future of their own political party and their own tribe and their own. This is why so many of them can flip flop on abortion, flip flop on gun rights. They're knee jerk. Anytime there's a mass shooting, 50 Republicans stand up in Congress and condemn the NRA. The NRA has nothing to do with the shooting, but because of the social pressure and the media pressure, they're stampeded. They're stampeded by the liberals are they're not even liberals. The cultural Marxists are very skilled at stampeding Republicans. I think that's what you're getting to. They scare them. They frighten them by putting shade on them or putting shame on them. They operate by that, or just outright intimidation, or in some cases violence.
Right. But that's why they take such weak stances. The libertarians and conservatives, as I said before, have a lot of overlap. So they can, bend their way, whatever is easier. Not necessarily what is good or right, but whatever is easier. It's much easier to say, we love America, we need more spending on our military, we need more spending for this.
When is the last time you heard any so-called conservative in the Congress stand up and say, I want to make an announcement today. I believe in absolute truth, absolute beauty, absolute goodness, and absolute reality. And it doesn't matter who thinks otherwise, that's what I believe.
I don't listen to C-SPAN that religiously.
No,
but
I'm just saying, where's the last time that somebody ran on that platform? That would be a conservative person. That would be a real conservative person. There is no one going to stand up and say that, except Mark McIntyre and Alex Madashian.
And
George Gordon and
the people not elected.
And Jordan Peterson. So we have to separate people out. And this is why I advise people not to listen to news on a daily basis. If you do, go to realpolitics.com where you get alternating pro and con, alternating.
Or any aggregate source where you get, multiple points of view.
You're the one who put me onto the aggregate source thing. And my advice to our listeners, what would you recommend? How would you recommend people getting an aggregate source? Go.
Oh, there's just first of all, you could Google aggregate sources. There's lots of apps too out there. One I use, I think it's called Newspeak, News Voice. What it does is it has an issue.
Yeah.
And you can pick between something like 5 or more links, and it will label center or politically right, politically left, from Russia. So you understand the bias that is coming from it. So. You'll see a headline, Trump says X. You can see the story from Fox, from CNN. That's an aggregate source I like. RealClearPolitics.com is really good. Drudge Report's pretty good if you lean to the right and you just want more of that. The Best from the Left, that's a podcast from the left. There's dozens and dozens of aggregate sources out there. I highly recommend.
Have you heard of the subreddit? Change My View?
No, I have not. Tell me about it.
Okay, this is a great thing. I just plugged into it the other day, and check it out, folks. It's a subreddit. It's available so it's Reddit Change My View, all one word. And the whole goal here is and I'm reading right from the screen. This is a place to post an opinion you accept may be flawed in an effort to understand other perspectives on this same issue. Enter with a mindset of conversation, not debate. Pretty good, huh? Pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. So I'm on that now, and I advise other people to get on that. Change My View.
But I do want to get back to the main point that I started this video off with, and I want to hear your opinion. Do you think that we don't fight for a libertarian government and we don't fight for a conservative society because it's easy? It's much easier to advocate, do whatever you want culturally, and be very protective and restraining through our government, because it's really easy to do that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Well, my view on this, Alex, is very simple. Politicians are masks that the population puts on because the population cannot stand what they see in the mirror every morning when they're trying to get ready to go out the door. So a politician, they're expendable. If the masses say, elect Adolf Hitler as chancellor in 1933 of Germany, that's what's going to happen. Okay? If the politicians say elect Hillary Clinton, that's what's going to happen. So the politicians, they're just followers. They're sheep, really. Okay?
Ironically.
The real power goes with the people. We saw that when Trump got elected, because this was a people's revolt against both establishments, Republican and Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't fault the politicians. I really don't even fault the politicians. I fault the people. Get it right, people.
Well, wait. In a democracy, places like North Korea, Iran, where they have no say in the leadership, that doesn't count.
Right.
But I do agree with you. In any place that acts like a democracy, you're 100%
So
right.
here's my advice to the folks, and to answer your question. Never mind this think locally and act globally. That's wrong. Think locally and act locally.
There you go.
All right? Anyway.
Thank you, Patreons, for your support. I really hope that you continue supporting us, and if you haven't, make sure you do. By the way, if you become a $10 a month Patreon supporter, Professor McIntyre will give you his book on logic, so you can go slap up people around using the philosophy.
I'm happy to give it away because I've been using it for 23 years, and it works. Anyway, thank you for your support. Tell it to your friends. I actually recruited a follower in an Uber ride today. It was really fun.
Good. Yeah. Keep it up.
I did. We'll talk next time, Alex, and bye, folks.